I don't know. I don't know. Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about the big crossover event. Worlds collide. Fear the Walking Dead. The Walking Dead. Boom, it's Morgan. What? I mean, if you said, Ronnie, pick a fantastic actor that can bring a serious, epic, performance to Fear the Walking Dead and boost some ratings, Morgan would be on the top of the list, top 10 definitely. But if you said, Ronnie, pick a character based on the story, I wouldn't even have picked him. I wouldn't even have picked him. And what adds more mystery to this is Morgan was on Talking Dead, or Lenny James was on Talking Dead, and he said they wrapped about a week ago, which puts him, he at least lives till the end of season 8, around episode 14, give or take, maybe 14, 15, so he at least makes it there. He finished filming. But then he goes on to say, when they were saying the goodbyes, he goes on his speech as if this is the last time he's going to see these people, and he's done filming. He made it sound like he either died or he's going over to the show and he's going to film what happens after season 8 on Fear the Walking Dead, which, as you guys already know, that's insane because Fear the Walking Dead is 3 years, roundabout 2 to 3 years, behind The Walking Dead, timeline-wise. Where they're at in Fear the Walking Dead, Rick is meeting Morgan at the end of season 3. Rick is meeting Morgan, and he's leaving Morgan. Morgan's in Georgia right around the end of season 3. I believe they even came out and said that, timeline-wise, the showrunner did at the end of the season, which leaves the only other option, if they're not going to do a huge flash forward, which if they did, I think that would definitely mean the prequel idea was a complete failure. If they have to skip a few years and then bring this character in after the events of season 8. However, the only other open time is after Rick gave him the walkie-talkie, Rick left, Morgan didn't shoot his wife, and then his wife ended up killing his son. And then shortly after that time, there's about a year and a half where we don't know what happened to Morgan. And then Rick came back and found him in that same town in season 3 talking some crazy shit. There's even a deleted scene which gets really interesting where he talks about, he's talking in broken sentences. He says, afterwards I wanted to die. I'm not going to let the things do it. There were people, bad people made me forget what I wanted. They made me kill them. The others helped me and then they lost it, their minds. Everyone turns, and he's talking about bad people in this deleted scene. Now, this is crazy because if their idea is to have Morgan leave after Dwayne dies, go to Texas, have this insane crazy story, which this piques my interest. This kind of piques my, because this damaged Morgan pretty much. But then he returns. But why would he return? That makes no sense. It feels so forced. Unless he returns because of his wife and his son. He returns to where they died. Which, now that I think about it looking back, Scott Gimple is now an executive producer on Fear. Well, we all know through the interviews, Morgan's story is kind of like Scott Gimple's baby. He talked about doing the story with Eastman and all that stuff. Now, keep in mind, Morgan's timeline, he meets Rick day 1, Rick's with him a couple days, Rick leaves, Morgan's timeline is unknown for a year and a half, give or take. Rick comes back, finds him in town, Rick leaves, and then we see in Here's Not Here, Morgan's still in town. It burns down, and then he leaves and finds Eastman. So all of Morgan's timeline is sprinkled throughout The Walking Dead, except for that year and a half. Unless they're going to do a massive flash forward, which doesn't make any sense, it has to be that missing time. And a lot of fans are going nuts. I can't believe I didn't think of the Scott Gimple thing before, too. Executive on Fear the Walking Dead, he's probably going to let the new showrunners have at it, except for when it comes to the Morgan moments. Scott Gimple's a freaking executive producer. That's why he's getting paid, to make sure the character's acting right, the character's written right, make sure the character's storyline, timeline-wise, is accurate. I mean, shit, that lines up perfectly now that I'm thinking about it. However, fans keep bringing out the fact that Morgan said Rick is sewing wearing dead people's faces. Now, I have always been against that being the Whispers, but let's just play along. If it is the Whispers, there could be an interesting way to get the Whispers over to where Rick and gang are. If Morgan did leave after Dwayne dies, makes it out to Texas, and I can't help that not seeming or looking, every time I picture it in my head, if he stopped filming a week ago and he's filming now when Fear the Walking Dead is filming, that means he's going to be early on in Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, maybe the first episode or two. If that's the case, are we going to see him traveling from Georgia to Texas? Wouldn't that look kind of, oh, there goes Morgan from one show to the next, and then at the end of it, there goes Morgan going back to where he was because that's where his character is when Rick shows up in season 3. Anyway, back to the interesting Whispers storyline idea. Maybe he does meet up with them, the characters from Fear the Walking Dead, because the original showrunner wanted Madison to become a villain like Negan-like. So if he's talking about these bad people making him kill them and yada yada yada, and essentially breaking him in the deleted scene, maybe Morgan does get with these people that, you know, use skins and as camouflage for the zombies, and he does something like kill Alicia or kill Nick, and he's responsible for something devastating. And Madison is maybe not the leader, not alpha, but a underboss, and she convinces them to go after them, to travel, since they are a mobile tribe. That's how they travel around, and seemingly that's what we get from the comic. So they travel knowing Morgan. After getting to know him, they know he's going back to Georgia. They travel that way to hunt him down, and they don't end up finding him, and that's what leads them on this course of collision course with Rick and gang, because since they're already headed that way, they end up going around different land areas, and eventually they make their way upon them. Now, that's just me playing along. I don't want them to have anything to do with Whispers. I dread it, absolutely dread it. However, this pick as Morgan has me absolutely baffled. On one hand, I think there's some truly amazing stuff they could possibly do, but then on the other hand, I'm thinking about the timeline, and I looked up the distance between Georgia and Texas, and it says a straight shot by airplanes about 1,000 miles. Now that's a straight shot. Now he's going to be walking some, driving some. Our group went about 600 miles they traveled in season 5, and when they met Noah in Atlanta, Georgia, then they went to Alexandria. That's how they ended up there. It's about 600 miles. Now that's let's say that's half of Morgan's distance that he has to travel. If it took them 2 months, it's going to take Morgan around 4 months. So that means Rick leaves him, and Dwayne dies right away, a few days later, and Morgan leaves, and it takes him 4 months to get to Texas. And keep in mind, as I measured it, that's the middle of Texas. We're not saying like, what if it's the end of Texas? 4 months to get there. He's there for about 2 months. That's 6 months. He leaves and goes back. That's another 4 months. That's 10 months already. And then he's there setting up the town. The town was all set up with booby traps and all that shit. So he's there for a few months. That puts him at around a year and 2 months. So around 14 months, if I did that math right, doing that traveling alone. That gives him just about enough time, but they got to really pay attention to the timeline that they're playing with here. I don't get it. I don't get it, story-wise, timeline-wise. He's a fantastic actor, and at this point in time, I'm sorry, but I'm a little bit against it. I don't like the idea. I want him in Fear the Walking Dead. I don't want him in Fear the... Yeah, fuck it. I gave up. I want him in The Walking Dead. However, if it's his character's time to go, and that's it for him in, The Walking Dead, I still will enjoy him. Even if it feels kind of forced, I still will enjoy him in Fear the Walking Dead. Just like if they picked Abraham, I would have enjoyed him as well. Really great actors. It's still fun, checking them out on Fear the Walking Dead. But now it's your turn. You give me your thoughts and opinions. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and no, I'm not going to ask you how many walkers you killed, but please, 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 if any video, this is the one. I'm dying for your thoughts and opinions. Even if you left it on a different video, please, please, please leave your thoughts and opinions here. Do you like Lenny James? I'm trying to talk fast, I'm messing it up. Do you like him picked as an actor? Because I do. Love it. Do you like him being picked storyline-wise, which I don't know about this one. And the last one, what do you think they're going to do with his story? Is it going to be after the events in Season 8? Or are they going to take that missing 1.5 years between Season 1, episode 1, and season 3, episode 12. I believe it's episode 12. Clear. I think I got that right. If I was off a little bit on anything, you let me know down in the comment box, or just forget about it and put your questions, thoughts, and opinions, theories, suggestions, everything I asked, those 3 questions, please, 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 even number them. Because this is one of those cases where I am so wildly curious. After I take my daughter to school tomorrow, I'm sitting my butt down, having breakfast, and reading your questions. I have to know how you guys feel about this. I mean, I gotta know. And check out the Talking Dead interview. It's floating around somewhere on YouTube. It's strange. He's talking like this is his final goodbye on The Walking Dead. And I just... Rest in peace, Morgan. Rest in peace, buddy. I'll miss you.